Alright guys, it is fairly early in the morning. I've been sick all this past week, so if I'm talking funny, that's why. Anyways, I need to get started on tiling the shower, and my first step here is going to be lining all my tile up in the living room, checking on my tiles because they're actually still sitting in the box. The box has two pieces in them each. So I'm kind of envisioning this as my far back row of tile on the wall. This will be my side, left side, and that over there will be my right side where my niche and stuff is. So I'm just matching up the different pieces. I'm going through the pieces, trying to see if I have any duplicates and seeing which ones match up to which one's the best to give the nicest look after you're done. So I'm going to do that, and then I'm going to label them, and that's where you pretty much got to start. So got these out, drag this one over here, and these aren't small tiles. These are I think 24 by 48. So what I'm doing here is just taking it and seeing which one looks best. I like to put the ones with most character like right in a nice visual spot where you'll see it the most, pretty much eye level, or in an area that you know is gonna attract your eye the most. Areas that don't really, attract your eye or aren't right at eye level, you can put kind of the more basic ones there. Or if you like the basic ones better, then vice versa. Let's see here. To me, doesn't match that well. This side might. Let's just stick to this side real quick. Looks a little better. So in this type of tile, what you want to do is like these streaks, any dark or light streaks, you'd almost want to pick a piece to where it looks like it carries over onto it, like it's a continuation of that one piece. So that's not horrible. And I haven't had any duplicates yet, so that's good. Yeah, it's not gonna match that last one, so let's flip it over. Okay. We'll check this side. That definitely looks way better than this side looked against that. And then your duplicate pieces, you'll want to hide where you really can't see. Especially you don't want to put them side by side or anywhere close to the same piece, or you can use them for your cut pieces. So hopefully we don't have too many duplicates. That actually looks good. So that piece looks like it just continues through. That's a really good match, in my opinion. So I'm gonna leave that there. Yeah, that actually looks really good. And I just started pulling these out. This is a very rough visual, rough draft of exactly where things are gonna be. I haven't even gone in there and measured. All right, so it's gonna be cut. I'm gonna do it to where this is gonna be a full tile coming up to the base of the niche. So I want a full tile here. That's how I did my measurement. Full tile, full tile, full. I'm pretty sure the top's full. I'm not sure. I might have to cut a little off the top. I'll have to remeasure that. It's been so long since I measured it. But that's what I'm gonna do because I wanted a full piece here, and then the bottom's gonna be cut. I'll have a cut piece and a cut piece. So I'm gonna start here with my full piece. Actually, it makes sense now that I'm thinking about it. If I just start with this piece, because that has an exact spot it needs to go. Start here, get it nice and level, exactly where it's supposed to be, which I can't because I want the back wall to be there, and then I want the sides to go against the back wall tile. I don't want the sides and then the back wall to go against it, obviously. So, I'll have to figure that out. Not that it's that difficult, but I don't want to start here and then when I come here, it's not perfectly aligned with the top here. I don't know. See what I mean? There's a lot of thinking that I got to do before just randomly doing a niche. And then bottom piece, I'm going to be one of these sitting on top of the tile. So I want the tile to come right up to this edge. And then that piece will come over the tile, sitting on it. I could do a ledger, I think board is what it's called. I could put it here to where it's perfect with this tile sitting up here. And then at least I could still only use that one ledger board and make this tile end rest on top of the ledger board. And then put a level on it, make it level, but at least it's on top of this ledger board, which should make it even with this board. But we'll get that figured out. I pretty much just wanted to show that this is how I'm starting it. I want a full piece up to here. That's where I'm starting it. Boom, boom. And then this wall's going all the way up just like this wall. That's how that's going. There's a lot of stuff I still got to figure out. I already got my drain covered. I got my tile for the shower pan. I still got to get my lights. Forgot about that. I haven't even got my lights or anything. And then I got to figure out what trim I'm going to use. I really didn't want to use any trim, but I really don't want to jack with doing the miter cuts and trying to cut them out of 45 and then, you know, get them on there like that and grouting in between or whatever you do. So I'll probably use that Schluter metal trim. It's not my favorite. I really don't want to use that, but I think I'm just going to go ahead and use that because it's simple. Don't really got to think about it. Easy, get it done. All right. And I will also be tiling the outside of this wall. Everything out here is going to be tiled. Down on the bottom of that window is going to be tiled. All around the outside of the window. And still got to figure out what I'm doing on here. I was going to do tile at first, but then I'm kind of against that because I don't want to do the Schluter trim all the way around that or any of the other trim styles. So I was thinking about just using wood, or I might use that PVC plank. Kind of looks like wood, but it's made out of PVC. I might use that to do that. I want it to look more of a modern window seal, just straight across, straight at the bottom, all even, coming out over the side of over the lip of the tile. I don't got to do any trim or anything on that. All right, anyways, just wanted to show quickly what I had to come in here and look at to calculate my tile that I'm trying to match up out in the living room. All right, guys, got my first duplicate piece. This piece right here happens to be a nice piece that you can clearly see. This huge blotch right here has some very distinct characters to it. A lot of times if I got a duplicate piece, I'd rather it be a non-distinct piece of tile because those are harder to spot. This one you'd spot right away, boom, boom. But I'll set this aside and we'll see what happens. So if I end up having to cut it, I can use this as a cut piece and cut through the really distinct mark, and you won't be able to tell at all that it's the same piece, especially if I flip it upside down or something. So that's my first duplicate. I'm gonna set it aside. Real quick so you can see what I'm saying here. You see those streaks that go through there? That piece looks, the top, I wish matched a little bit better. But as you can see, these pieces, you see on camera how it goes through it, like it was a one piece and it got cut. That's what I'm talking about. This light section kind of matches with this light section, and I think that they look good together. And of course, actually, now that I'm looking at it, this kind of runs through this one with it. So, oh, and that top area looks like it belongs. So that's actually a good piece for this right here. It looks good there with all those pieces. So I think I'm kind of done with that. Got them labeled, put abbreviation on there, put a number, put an arrow in the direction that you want to have them oriented. And that part's done. Got them all labeled, ready to rock and roll. All right guys, first things first, you gotta measure it, mark it. I'm gonna go 35 and 1/16. We'll cut it straight through. Marks don't really matter except for with trying to get it lined up perfectly with the saw, because the saw is not perfect. So you gotta make sure it's lined up perfect. Sometimes, well, we'll see, because we're not going to be able to use the fence that comes with the saw because this is going to be way too big and that cut's going to go over too far. Hopefully we can even cut that. But let's try to get our first cut. Let's go ahead and make a line. That might work a little better. Let me just double think everything. Okay. Water's on. Blade marked. Roll through. Bring this down. Don't move it. Lock it into place. All right, here we go. Let me show you the crappiest thing about wet saws, or this wet saw at least. A lot of times on the end, it wants to crack the end of it like that. And on my floor tile, it wasn't cracking the top. It was cracking it, but it would be cracked lower than the top towards the bottom, which wasn't a big deal. On this piece, it completely chipped off the corner. Luckily, it wasn't on my actual piece. But that's ridiculous. Every time this saw gets to the end, whether I go super duper slow or I kind of go fast through it, it wants to crack the end of the tiles. All right, so I really got to get that figured out. And I know, like I said, I noticed it when I was doing my floor. And every time I got to the end, I would try something different, whether it was going super slow, adding more water, or kind of zip through fast at the end. This is one of the worst cracks that's ever happened on my end, so hopefully that's not showing me what's to come. Like I say, it would just be the underneath of the tile piece would chip maybe halfway up and the top would be perfect still. That makes it completely unusable. Guess I'm lucky though that it didn't happen to my main piece. And that's a pretty nice cut, other than it messed up my cutoff piece, which I'll be using later. Let's see the side on it. I'll still take I'm gonna go find my little diamond sponge and give this a quick hit so it looks like the factory edge, like that. The factory edge. It's not as square cut as that, and there's nothing wrong with that. And actually I'm not going to, because that's going to be in the corner and it's going to be completely covered up, so there's no need to hit that with the diamond. All right, here we go, first piece cut. Let's go check it. All right guys, so one of the bad things about this saw that makes it not the greatest, well, I can't really hold the camera here, but let's see. Watch the end of the thing down there. This table or whatever it's called that it sits on moves. So while I'm pushing it through, I'm gonna have to force it one way and keep it that way the entire time. But did you even see that? Like, it went up on something and it bumped it. Watch that line. Bumps it a little over. So right there, I'll have to kind of keep it forced that way. And it moves less now once it's in that bumped area. So hold up. But I can't start there. So I have to start back here, hold it off a little bit, and then it will bump it on. Now let's get it. Okay, so I put my hand here to kind of hold this time. Maybe it was a little vibration that made it chip. So it chipped on this side like it did on my floor tile, just on the bottom, about half of the tile. This side, major chip once again. So it's ruining all of my cut pieces on this side of the cut. And this is like a normal thing for the saw. That break right there, which that's not gonna mess with anything. That's fine, it doesn't matter at all. About halfway up, broke it. Did that to all my floor tile. That's what was happening, and it didn't mess with any of it. So that I can live with. This I cannot live with. Luckily it's only on one side of the saw so far, and it hasn't got my good side. Coincidence, or that's how it's gonna happen every time, I don't know. But so far I've gotten lucky. When I get further into this project though, I might need this side that I'm cutting and not this side. I'm not sure if I could just manipulate it to cut that side every time. As for the cut itself, another nice clean cut. I don't see any chipping or anything. It looks like a nice cut. I'm happy with that, except for the chip it of the other side. All right guys, here's what I'm gonna try. Went and got some electrical tape, put one piece down the center, two other pieces beside that. We'll see if that stops it from cracking on us. Let's go. I think that worked. Something weird happened at the end. Maybe when I did something, but I don't think it cracked it. It did. Still cracked it. Let's hope it didn't do this side again. Alright guys, didn't work. Still cracked the corner. Can you believe it? Can you believe it? What kind of a crap saw cracks every side corner? This one, it stopped the tiny crack. Didn't really do much. It's, you know, whatever, it is what it is, but I cannot believe it cracks that side every single time. I took the blade off. I tightened it down really tight. No reason why it should be cracking that tile. Zero. On the same side, something's going on there. Apparently at the end of the thing. I can't believe it still did it. Alright guys. Here we go, trying to get the shower done. I'm gonna go ahead and get my second piece up and see how it goes. I think this wall was a little not level, kind of bent inward, so I have thicker stuff here than on the side, so my concern is that this piece isn't going to match up. That's actually why I stuck these in here. So we'll see how it goes. I might end up having to take it back down, get my sides thinner, so we'll match up on the sides here, the thin set. Like I say, it's thicker in the middle than over here. Hopefully this works out and matches up. So I pretty much just get this on the wall however you can. Start getting it on there. Oops. Hope I have enough thin set in this bucket. I find it easier to back butter my piece of tile outside, and then when I'm done with this, I'll just go grab it, bring it in, stick it on the wall. More room. Can stand up over a table I have it on, makes it easier for me. Just the right amount. About to find out. Let's just start going over it. Yeah, looks good. Looks like enough. Alright guys, I tried to video me putting this piece of tile up. Apparently I didn't have enough storage on my SD card. It didn't go 100% smooth. I had an issue which I thought I was gonna have because the way this tile sat, I don't know, I guess my wall is a little off. and there's a gap in the center of the tile, and it's closer to the wall on the side, so I had more thin set in the center, and I was hoping my sides were going to match up and not leave too much hanging over here, whatever that's called. I can't even remember now, but I got it really close. Middle's perfect, this side's perfect, this side's just a hair up, good enough, and it's fairly level this way, so I'm happy with it. I don't think it's going to get any better than that. So I'm going to just start cleaning it up. I have multiple sponges and stuff, but my other 5-gallon bucket was dirty. And I need to get more microfiber cloths. I'm going to order them after I'm done with this. So I'm just using paper towels real quick instead of another bucket with a microfiber cloth to come through and do this, which would make it a lot easier. You can get this off once it dries a little, but I like to come through and clean it up. And I'm by no means some kind of professional. Regular homeowner trying to get it done. If I could do this, anyone could do this. Once I get my groove, it should go. I didn't look anything up. I'm putting this on the wall. I'm going off of when I did my floor. It's been a long time. I should have refreshed my memory and actually looked up some stuff on YouTube. But more pieces I put on, I'll get into a groove and it'll get easier and easier. So I took a pencil and I put it, well, there's some sticking out now because I forced this on harder and I put those in. When I did my floor, I didn't even like using these clips. I used them on the first 4 or 5 pieces of tile, then I stopped using them. But I felt like this was going to be necessary because I could see how this was on the wall, close here, far here, and close here. So I put these clips in before this thin set dried behind my first piece because I figured I'd want to use it to help me get this piece perfect. Luckily I did, because it wouldn't have been that great if I didn't do that. But I just put that end of the pencil in there. Boom. Get a lot of that thin set out of your grout line. Makes it easier. I got a tool that you could also clean the grout line out with once it dries, but I like doing it like this first. Another reason why I didn't like those clips, it made it super messy. After you pop these clips off, you had a lot of cleaning and grinding to do. Some in here. Say it's not a big deal. I just like to get it clean. Ooh. Alright guys, real quick, just want to show the only thing I've done on the tile in the shower is those 2 pieces of tile on the wall. Boom, boom. And real quick, it's been, when did I do this? I think I did this top piece Friday. So it's been pretty much almost, 3 days exactly. I need to come in here where my clips were. They already cleaned out most of it. See how clean that joint is? Because I took my time to actually clean it the day that I did it. Where I have my clips though, another reason why I didn't like using the clips on the floor is it gets really jacked up. And these clips weren't very good either. They wouldn't break off with the rubber mallet, so I had to like cut on them with the razor blade, so they didn't come out very well. But you can see I have a little bit of cleaning up to do. And you want to do that, allegedly, pretty fast after putting it in, within probably 48 hours. They would tell you it's been 3 days. I don't think it's going to be hard. But I think the longer you would wait, the harder it would be. Pretty much I just got this tool. So I got this tool. I had it when I was doing my floor. I got it off of Amazon, and it's probably called like a grout remover tool. It works perfect to get that extra thin set out of these cracks real quick. Let me do that. So if I could hold the camera and demonstrate at the same time, pretty much. And these grout lines aren't as, hold on these grout lines aren't as wide as the ones on my floor. This thing still fits in there good. Just don't want to risk tearing up the side of the tile. Alright, so here, let's just get it in here. Let's scrape it down. Let's try this one. You see these little things in here? Let me get the camera down. Put your tool in there, just give it a scrape. Whoops. It's a little harder with holding the camera. Easy as that. Bada bing, bada boom. And I'll take something wet. I'll just get this stuff off of the edge. There's no need to scrape the edge. But you can see how that took that down in there. So now you got a clean grout line. And I'm going to do that on these. I'm probably take a razor blade and cut at the plastic that was left in there. I'll do it over here. I don't got much cleaning though. Alright guys, before I finish cleaning out this grout line on these tiles, I just want to go over kind of where I'm at on the shower. I think I'm going to pretty much end it here and call this a part one because I don't want to draw it out. I'm taking my time on the shower. You know, put a piece of tile on a day during the week. And guess how much I got done this weekend? Nothing. Well, unless you consider figuring out your design that you're going to have or the way you're going to go about doing things, not necessarily a design, I guess. But there's a couple things that I had to change because especially using these big pieces, every piece you put on the wall is affecting things. Could be 2, 3, 4, 5 steps down the line. So I had to kind of had a reality check, and before I could stick another piece on, I even decided not to stick that top piece on because I'm going to wait till I get the outside of this wall done so I could match the edge right to the edge of this tile on the outside. But I wanted to get this piece done and realized that I had a lot of thinking to do before I could get that piece on there. This I think is what you call a ledger board, if I'm correct. I don't know, something like that. Pretty much a ledge that you decide where you're going to start your tiling, and then you screw that to your wall, and that helps hold up the tile. Plus it gives you a straight line for where you want to start. So that's what I did over here. Got this piece on and then did this piece, and now those pieces will hold it up however how you want to go. So I moved it to over here, and I kind of wanted this weekend to get this piece on here. Didn't happen. I could have, but I didn't want to rush it. So I was going to start right here and bring a full piece of tile to the bottom of my niche. I wanted a full piece coming up to here, exactly where it needed to be. And then after looking at it and doing some thinking, I realized I was going to make a 15-inch piece down here roundabout and like a 5.5-inch piece at the top. So I went ahead and ex-nayed that idea, and I'm going to have a grout line pretty much in the center of this niche, which isn't optimal. It's not the best, probably. Good enough for me. Most people would tell you not having a grout line in here would be best, but whatever. That's how it's going to work out for me. So that gives me a full piece here, a full piece here, and a full piece at the top, and pretty much a full piece down here. I think it's going to be like an inch, inch and a half shy of a full piece of tile. That to me is going to look better. So come to find out, I had to get all sorts of measurements and find out what trim pieces I was going to use, which changed here and there. I was going to use one, then I went to another, and then I went to another one. So I went down to the tile shop and I looked at them. Ended up getting the Jolly trim in 3/8. That's another thing. I wasn't sure if I wanted 3/8 or 1/2 inch. I decided to go with the 3/8, and hopefully that's gonna work out for me. But so that's the trim I'm gonna use around here, and then you have to decide how are you gonna orientate the Jolly trim, because you could use it in 2 different ways. You could use it going downward in this part coming out, or this part could be going up, if that makes sense. Look it up, you'll see people using it 2 different ways. So there's a bunch of stuff I had to figure out, and then you got to get all your measurements correct. And then I'm going to use the same tile I'm using on the pan down here for the back of the niche right here. And since I'm not just using this tile that I could cut out at any size I need, that all had to be measured and I had to figure out how I was going to have that in there without cutting little slivers everywhere. Then I had to raise this up, get all my measurements, decide how everything's going to go, decide how I'm going to run my LED lights because I got my wire in there, what I'm going to use for that. There's a bunch of stuff I had to figure out, so I literally didn't put one piece of tile on the wall all weekend long. After I got that figured out, I could have cut this. It was like 4 o'clock yesterday. But I didn't want to mess with it. I was like, I don't want to rush it. I'll just get my cut pieces and double, triple, quadruple check my measurements throughout the week. And I'll cut that at some sort of time, and I'll put this piece up next weekend so I won't feel like I'm rushing it. Just in case there's something I'm not thinking of. So I just want to do some more thinking on it before I actually start cutting my pieces. That's another issue with this tile. They don't just have it at the store. It has to be ordered, and you have to order 5 cases of the tile to be sent to Home Depot. And only 2 come in a case, but still, that's 24 by 48 inch tile, 2 in a pack, and you have to order 5 packs. So I can't just go and order a pack and get another piece of this or 2 more pieces of this. I'd have to order 5. So also I broke up that top piece of tile. I already had that piece cut out, and I ended up breaking the tile. Not going to go into how it happened. Broke the tile. There's already 1 full tile wasted. So we'll see how it all turns out. My floor tile is pretty much the same stuff. It's just a smaller tile. So I did this, matched my floor with the shower tile. But this is way bigger. I think that's 12 by 24. This is 24 by 48. So I could use, if I need like these side pieces, or possibly a side piece on the wall here or wherever else, I possibly could use a floor piece that I have if necessary. But all in all, it's not really the best situation when you can't go out and get more of the tile that you need. So, and I showed that my saw has been chipping or breaking every corner on the left side of the cut, and I haven't figured that out yet. So pretty much where I'm at. Anyways, I had to get this perfect for my measurement on the floor tile, because those come on mats, and they're just big 12 by 12 inch square. So I'm gonna overhang this tile coming up by, I think I did pretty much a 1/16 under a 1/2 inch to get it at this level right here. After all said and done, it'll be about this high, which would be pretty perfect for my tile, and then my top piece should come down and cover the top edge. Side edges will be covered, obviously, and this will be covered, but so that's gonna have to be cut to overhang this a little bit to get that raised up. That's kind of where I'm at on it. Can't remember if there's anything else that I wanted to say, but we're just gonna end it right there. We'll call this part 1. Got this ledger board up, so we're ready for action on this tile. Maybe just doing the niche here. I'll do a tiling video on just the niche, might be the part 2 of the video. This whole wall, maybe just the niche, I'm not sure yet. So my objective here isn't to teach anyone how to tile, just showing what a regular average guy can do, and how you can kind of DIY your own tile or full-blown custom shower, but how you can tile it and, you know, all that good stuff. So when you're not a professional, it takes some time, it takes some thought. I don't have all these pieces of this to try different trims and do this and do that, and have no experience in using tile and doing this stuff. So you have to take time to research it, figure out every little thing, not rush it, because as soon as you rush it, you mess something up. then you got to kind of compensate for it, and it just doesn't turn out, you know, as good as it could if you just took your time with it. But yeah, that's kind of where I'm at. Not wanting to rush it, and like I said, just not being a professional, it takes a lot more time, and stuff costs money. So I'll be doing an update on the garden soon, and probably a 1,000-mile review on my motorcycle if you're watching because of that. But right now I'm kind of moving to tile in the shower because that's kind of what I'm doing right now. All right guys, well, that's about it for part 1. Later.